That's it. I do not package it. I don't have a product. I have a conversation. And I tell you, I let the client, the coachee, package the offer for me. Let me explain. First, I contribute and I give value in the conversation, in the relationship. And when I say I select my clients, this is my way to work with people. Is first to have a conversation because we are in the same networking event, because they have been seeing my work as a trainer or maybe in a team coaching or whatever the setting can be. We have a conversation. We have lunch. We go together to whatever networking event it is, we meet together and we have a real conversation. After that, I want to have a real 360 conversation to really understand where they're at.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Kevin, and today we are joined by Audrey Jeanrond. You are the founder of Be Best Coaching, been a coach for 10 plus years. Welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And, I've heard it all around my name. I'm French originally, which is pronounced Jeanrond, but I live in Germany. So I heard Jeanrond and all the possible variants.
That's really interesting. You're talking about, yes, you were Parisian, then moved to Germany. You could have been so many different things. You could have been a sushi chef. You could have been a professional golfer. But of all things, you chose to become a coach. And so curious, how did you end up into coaching and turning it into a business? Tell me your story.
Oh, thank you. And I have been many things before being a coach. I was first a lawyer and a chartered accountant and a tax advisor for the best part of 15 years first. I've been working in what we call the big 4 firms, very big consulting firms. And I've been working with brilliant minds, very capable people doing extraordinary things. And that was the best part of the first 15 years of my career. And I was always driven here by helping people better understand very complex things and turning them into business opportunities with better understanding. That was always my goal. And I believe that coaching is also just that. It's not so far away from being a tax consultant. The Excel sheets are not very common when you're a coach, but still I can do them. And I've been a consultant for 15 years. And then I realized I loved everything about my job. Being around people, helping clients, working in teams, working the team dynamics and the politics of it in these very big firms. But when it came to doing the tax returns at the end of the day, that was not really my favorite thing to do. So you know what? I decided to quit more than 10 years ago. And some of the partners in the firm I was working with, they told me, what are you doing? Why don't you just stay in the firm and we will find something for you to do, but probably you just need to think a little bit more through it. I was thinking, okay. And in the meantime, can you train people to do exactly what I was doing at that time, which was a little bit peculiar? So I started doing hard skills training. And I realized at the end of the day, what I liked most was doing the training. And from training hard skills to training soft skills to coaching, it was just a little step. So it was for me very organic to go from the tax advisory side to the advisory side to the consulting side and then stepping into coaching and training. And I had the chance to stay in the same firm at first, to be an internal coach and an internal consultant before I set up my own brand and my own company 4 years ago. So I was very lucky.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about that decision, 4 years ago when you made that transition from internal to your own practice.
Yes, that's always a very big decision. And I see more and more people coming also to that, even also here in Europe and in France. What is really interesting about that, it came to me. I was working in this big audit firm where actually there were some of the specificities of my coaching and mainly the hypnotherapy that I was not able to do being an internal coach. So I had really no other chance to really use fully coaching and fully hypnotherapy than become myself an independent coach and hypnotherapist. But maybe let me explain to you how I came to hypnotherapy, because it's something that not everybody does.
Yeah.
I always had these up and downs, and a lot of people, managers, leaders, entrepreneurs, we have those up and downs. And in 2020, being a head of learning and development at that time was not really easy because suddenly we had no training to go to and no training to give. So it was a really depressing time. And one of my best friends told me, why don't you go and have a session or two maybe with a hypnotherapist? And I was like very skeptical at first. Remember, I was a tax advisor first.
Tax account.
So going to hypnotherapy, are you sure? And I told him, you know what? Also, it's COVID. I can't go anywhere. And he said, oh, you can do that via Zoom. That time I was really lost. I was like, okay, let's try it. I have nothing to lose. And I met this fantastic hypnotherapy from London. And in 2 sessions, I kid you not, in 2 sessions, these up and downs, I kept the up, but I left the down behind me. And for 5 years now, it has been for me, not that I don't have some good and bad days, but the very deep down, I don't know them anymore. Not anymore. And I thought to myself, when I'm coaching people and I end up in those difficult conversations sometimes where I have to dig deep down and to really help people to release what they have in the backpack, all the things they carry around for years sometimes. When you're coaching, you're asking people to run, but you don't have the means or the tools to help them dig into the backpack and then carry out all the stones they have been carrying in the backpack. And hypnotherapy did that for me. And I knew from that moment that I had the mission to give it to my coaching clients. And this is how originally I had to get out of the structure I was in, because as hypnotherapists, you cannot do that within an audit firm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's be blunt. So this is how I took the decision, but it's not that I took the decision. The decision was much more imposed on me because I felt the mission to carry that mission outside and to make sure that leaders, managers, entrepreneurs around me can go the same path as I did, not only through coaching, but all the tools that I'm providing.
Yeah. By the way, I've done hypnotherapy before, and that's such a great analogy about the backpack, because people talk about the subconscious and stuff. And unless you're like a nerd like me, who is a former drug dealer, I used to be a pharmacist, by the way. I'm really into neuroscience. A lot of people don't know what that means, but the backpack analogy was just gold. Now,
yes,
something I'm very curious about too, because you use hypnotherapy. It has its own connotations, right? People are like, oh, it's super woo-woo, it's esoteric. But then you have this coaching side. How do you kind of market yourself, or how do people find you? I'm very, very curious. And who are the people looking for you too?
Yes, most of the people, they don't come to me for the hypnotherapy first. I have to tell you, the clients that are coming to me, there are 2 kinds of people. The B2Bs, okay, the very big firms coming to me from the training side or coaching their teams, coaching their leadership teams or their leaders. This is one side. And then I have what I call also my private clients. But both of them, they come to me by referring from past clients, HR leaders, executives who've seen also the impact of my work, or people who have been in contact with through my previous careers. But most of the time they come to me with what I call surface coaching. They want to be better in some difficulty that they face with the team, or they want to be better in some competencies. Very surface coaching. For instance, somebody stepping into a new managerial role or leadership role. Okay. And then along the conversations, they may realize there is something a little bit more deep inside. And in that moment, there is a question that I ask them is, do you want to dig deep and release the stones that are in your backpack, look at the backpack and understand what is behind you that is really not allowing you to run as fast as you would like to. And when you have this awareness and this understanding, then we can release what is behind you and choose another way to make your own path. And that will accelerate what you're trying to do. And in that conversation, there is a yes or there is a no. But as long as there is trust first, then I can go to hypnotherapy.
You know, I could see like probably 4 years now, like compared to when you first started. I think that transition of when to bring that question up has probably gotten more refined over time. But how do you decide when to pop that question?
First, there is the need of the client. That is very, for me, intuitive. Most of the coaches, I know that we are hypersensitive to a lot of signals around us. For me, as a tax advisor, it was not really useful, but I can tell you this is today my superpower. So first, I could tell you I sense it, which is not a real answer to your question, but also because people know what I'm doing. So they know I'm a coach. Some of them, they ask if this can help. Some others, I can sense the need. And in that moment, when I see recurring patterns, or I can see when they are struggling to put in place some of the things that we've been deciding together as coaching partners, then I can pop this question in a way so that because I have already the credibility, because they already know what it feels like to be coached with me, and because they understand what another way of coaching with the work under hypnosis can bring to them, then we can go there. But for me, the decisive point is always the trust. Whether it's with coaching, hypnotherapy, or whatever else we're doing, it's always building the relationship first.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what I'm also interested in is like, okay, so it sounds like a majority of your business is through referrals. You have private clients, you have these big B2B firms that are reaching out to you and they're just like, oh my God, how do I work with Audrey, right? If you're comfortable sharing, what do your coaching engagements and offerings look like? I mean, some coaches do one-on-one, some do group trainings. Like, what have you gravitated to? I can imagine it's probably more one-on-one, but you tell me.
I started with training, group training. I still do some of them because there are some clients I cannot say no to because they have been with me since the first day. They have been supporting me and I still get to the training part, like training new managers, for instance, or new manager milestones. Some of this stuff I still do from time to time. But yes, indeed, I do individual coaching and team coaching with leaders, with entrepreneurs. It's not about the size of the company they're in. It's not about the size. It never is. It's really about the quality of the relationship. And it's the quality for me of the client being coachable, being in a moment where they are looking for the clarity, when they are looking for new pathways, new ways of creating something unique in their teams, in the big companies or in their own companies. I work with entrepreneurs, with solo entrepreneurs, and this is not a problem. I work with coaches from time to time, who are also entrepreneurs in a way, but they forget about it most of the time. So I'm looking for people wanting this inner transformation. And this is what I'm looking for, because now I have the privilege more and more to choose my clients and not the other way around.
Something I can imagine too, like it sticks out to me because you're saying like, oh yeah, I love the people aspect of your, like when you're in your corporate career, you were saying, I love the people aspect. But when it came to like kind of like filing things or like the logistical type of things, you're like, oh, not for me, right? And so I'm kind of curious, right? Like since you have your own practice now, sure, I'm sure you have your bookkeeping. I'm sure you could do your own accounting if you really wanted to, right? But
can you believe me or not? I do my own accounting because it relaxes me. You know, accounting is 1 and zeros.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of easy, especially if you are a solo entrepreneur. I did accounting for banks. So I can tell you this part is quite easy to do. So it relaxes me, but please ask your question. Sorry for that.
Well, I think you kind of did answer it. Are you kind of solo right now or do you have a team at all? Have you thought about hiring?
I am solo, but not really solo. So I am solo working as an independent. I'm here in Germany. So I'm located in Germany, and the independent status is quite easy to put in place, and I don't need really to have a company by itself. It wouldn't add any of it. I have a brand, but I don't have a company, which is a little bit different. I still pay my VAT, don't worry about that. But I have a lot of people around me. And I think this is something as a coach, as an independent consultant, as solo entrepreneur that you have to do, which is so important, is to find your tribe. And I say always to find your tribe, because I didn't recognize myself sometimes in the very coaching world. From time to time, you have clubs of coaches meeting, and I felt like a little bit of an outsider being an entrepreneur and having this entrepreneurial mindset. From time to time, didn't find that it was really my tribe. And also the consultant and the financial consultant, it's not me anymore. So I had to find also my own tribe, and it was really, really important to me. And I'm happy I was able to do that. With a lot of entrepreneur clubs around me. The Chamber of Commerce, for instance, in Luxembourg, there are several Chamber of Commerce here in the region. I'm very happy to be part of those conversations, because they are challenging me not only as a coach, not only as a consultant or a hypnotherapist, but I can be there also as a sparring partner and as an entrepreneur. So it brings also this entrepreneurial side of myself that I cannot find sometimes in other coach settings. But for me, it's really, really important to not be alone. And I work with other freelancers, other company, network of coaches. I've been working with a very, very large bank for a very big program involving about 30 coaches around the world. So of course, I'm not working alone. I do train the trainers, train the coaches in this program. So I work with a lot of people around me, but I'm not in charge of them. We have interactions that are professional interactions, very kind interactions, that's for sure. But then we can trust and build the trust together as we are serving the client together.
You mentioned not being alone and having like people around you as like thinking partners or sparring partners. I do MMA, so I think a lot about sparring, right? And so one of the things I find coaches are alone a lot of the times in their mind, especially new ones, is like pricing strategies. Like, what do I charge? How do I package this? How do I package this if I'm doing hypnotherapy, right? Of course.
How do you?
Audrey?
That's it. I do not package it. I don't have a product. I have a conversation, and I tell you, I let the client, the coachee, package the offer for me. Let me explain.
Please.
First, I contribute and I give value in the conversation, in the relationship. And when I say I select my clients, this is my way to work with people, is first to have a conversation, because we are in the same networking event, because they have been seeing my work as a trainer, or maybe in a team coaching, or whatever the setting can be. We have a conversation, we have lunch, we go together to whatever networking event it is, we meet together and we have a real conversation. After that, I want to have a real 360 conversation to really understand where they're at. And with this 360 conversation, which are moments for me to really ask a lot of questions, I really want to understand where they're at, because I want to make sure first that I'm a good person for them and they are also a good client for me. And I want to see also if they are coachable in that moment, if they are ready to go the extra mile with me, because I can be quite challenging as a coach, which is okay. And this is what they are looking for as well, is to go further with me than they would do alone. So I have to be sure that coachable in that moment. And once we've done that, if I feel that they are ready, they will ask the question, and can you help me? Can you make me go to that way, to more turnover, to hiring more people, to have a better way to maintain my products, or to reach whatever it is they want as a goal. And then I say, yes, how do you see that? What it is that you want to have from me? How much is that worth for you? How much is that for you? What will it cost you if you were not accompanied in that moment, not coached in that moment? How much time will that cost you? How much energy and how much money? And I find this question of if you are not coached by me or by anybody else, what will it cost you? And to see if people are really taking that question and thinking, okay, if I'm doing that by myself, this will cost me 2 years and maybe I will fail. If I have somebody by my side, somebody like you, the price that I will pay for that would be 50, 20, 10,000, 2,000, whatever it is. And then we have a discussion. So I let the client, the prospect, package the offer for me.
So you basically kind of have the value conversation rather than being a cost. It's a value conversation, and you let that dictate the price as well. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Love that.
It's not a cost, by the way. It's an investment.
Yes.
I've been an accountant. When you are an accountant, you know the difference between the cost and an investment. There it is, because you have return on your investment. You have no return on costs. So this is not a cost. This is something that you invest on yourself and on your company. This is a business decision to work with me.
That's beautiful.
And that makes all the difference. And I wish a lot of coaches were thinking just like that what they are giving is not only a service, it's an investment for people in their future company, in their future self.
Let me ask you this, Audrey, right? After people work with you, what are some, speaking about value, what are some transformations you've kind of helped facilitate?
Yes. The first transformation I see in people working with me is they gain clarity. And a lot of leaders, managers, entrepreneurs I'm working with, they lack the clarity. They are in the moment, very operational sometimes, and very alone as well. So it's very difficult for them to gain this clarity because they have no time to step back. And when they step back, they're afraid they're missing any deadline, any operations or whatever it is. So that's the first transformation, is first the clarity and the understanding of the situation. And then the transformation comes, and it depends on the objective of the people. Let me give you an example, because I closed the coaching mission this morning. So this is a kind of a transformation that I saw in somebody. This person, she's brilliant, a brilliant mind, very great. She has been promoted as a director in a very large accounting firm, but she was still managing people and not leading them. And she had a lot of misconceptions around her role. She wanted to be of service to her people. And, you know, the traditional, okay, everybody is going back home. It's Friday. It's 10 p.m. and I'm still at the office doing whatever she was doing, and everybody was back home. And she was really hesitating on how can I keep my people motivated if I'm asking more of them, because I'm moving to a leadership role. That was really the struggle between being a servant leader on one side, but also a strategic leader on the other side. And she needed to reassess the way she was able to help the organization, the company, the team, the people, but also herself in the process. Because a lot of them, they forget about themselves. So this morning, we had the discussion at the end of the coaching after 6 months. And she was telling me, now I know how to balance my needs with my strategic thinking for the organization and the team. And that is the most precious thing, that I'm thinking about myself and I don't feel the guilt of putting my needs also in the balance. And that for me was a great feedback to hear this morning. I was very proud of what she achieved through our work together. So that's an example, and this is the kind of work I'm doing.
Beautiful. You know, something you also said, sometimes we forget about ourselves. And one of the things I want to make sure of is that I don't forget about you, Audrey. Speaking about the future goals, where do you want this coaching business to take you in the next few years? Do you have a desire to scale more, hire more people, secret dreams no one knows about? Would love to kind of hear.
I was thinking about that because, you know, this is the end of the year. This is December as we speak. So I was thinking, okay, what's next? What's for the next years? First, I want to integrate much more the hypnotherapy or hypnocoaching into the executive coaching, because I feel that this is a tool that a lot of people are a little bit afraid of. And there is nothing to be afraid, because you keep the control all the way and you gain much more clarity and understanding. And this is an accelerator of coaching. And I want to bring that in the B2B space as well, not only in the individual coaching. So for me, there is a clear target on that. This is why also I have my own podcast, which is in French. That's also to help people to better understand coaching first, and also hypnotherapy or other tools of coaching that can help them accelerate. So there is that. And then also I want to scale and be able to scale without losing the impact, which is also something very difficult. So for me, the scale is on two fronts, to say so. First is to embark more coaches with me, consultant, business coaches, therapists also with me, to bridge the gap also between leadership and mental health. So this is the scale. And the other scale is artificial intelligence, because now I have an agent to do my accounting. I have an artificial intelligence agent to help me through the multiple emails that I receive. I have artificial intelligence to help me do the things that are less of value and concentrate myself where I can bring value and impact. I think it's important to use artificial intelligence where we can to help us really focus on the value that we can create as coaches. AI agents also help us to focus on the right thing from time to time. For me, it's not the enemy. It's only something that will help us as a tool. And obviously I think it would be a prejudice to not use to the full extent of the possible thing. When I say I'm a business entrepreneur as well, when I accompany people, I accompany them also in their way that they conduct their business. And being aware about the possibilities of artificial intelligence, be it on automation, being on softwares, it's also an important part of the job when you're helping people also to gain insight, time, impact in their daily business. So for me, it's also something that is important. So the scale for me is on the people mechanisms, having more people with me, being accompanied by other freelancers, other consultants, people who have experience and drive and who can really foster really good coaching approach. But also the other part of the scale is also using artificial intelligence and new product and new software to make it happen as well.
You know, one of the things that you mentioned before was like, you want to scale without losing impact. And you mentioned that it comes with the challenges. What are some growing pains that you're kind of noticing in this season of business right now for yourself?
For me, I would say the challenge is this one, exactly. To be able from time to time to choose my clients is a nice way to say it, because I want to make sure that I can contribute and be valuable to the people. But also for some other people, I know that I cannot have the time to coach everybody or to be with everybody as much as I would like. So it can be a little bit a luxury challenge, maybe. But also what I see for me as a challenge is I want also my clients and my coachee to contribute also to each other and not rely only upon me, and be able also to have masterminds and communities in place. So this is why I'm working currently, for instance, with a network of sparring partners, which is called Synergy Partners. I work with them to support people with that effort of accompanying more entrepreneurs as a group, as a network of sparring partners with the same values, with the same kind of approach, with the same posture. To collaborate and create this community is very important to me, because I cannot only rely on myself to coach people and really develop these entrepreneurial ecosystems.
Yeah. That's really interesting to hear that. Your like central theme I see behind everything is like people, right? Like you just have a love for people. Oh, amazing.
I do. I'm fascinated by the resilience of people, the creativity, the imagination, the way people dynamics can work or not work in a team from time to time, and how we can sometimes by just little things and some little adjustments how we can transform things. It's simple. It's not always easy, but a lot of the time it's more simple than we think. A lot of people are thinking, if I had more competency or if I knew the magic secret or the magic sauce, something would happen. There is nothing magic here. It has a lot to do with introspection. It has a lot to do with interaction, with understanding, with a nice discussion. And I always say entrepreneurship, coaching also as an entrepreneurial system is about discussion. And a lot of the time when I'm frustrated, when it's not going the way I want, it's because I didn't have the discussion that I wanted to have, because I didn't put myself into the motion that I wanted to have. A lot of the things that we do as entrepreneurs, as leaders, managers, as coaches, it's about the discussion. Everything is about the discussion. A contract is a discussion. So having a contracting system, having a business relationship, it's about the discussion that we're having. And it's when I'm not having the right discussion that I'm getting frustrated from time to time, telling myself, okay, let's go back to the people and to being able to share and discuss together.
Thank you for reminding us about the power of people.
You're welcome.
One other thing I'm very curious about, because yes, I see that you have a deep love for people. I see that you've joined other different communities and all that. But then you said something earlier where something is not a cost. It's like an investment, especially with coaching. And so, as you know, business owners, coaches, we invest into things like, training, marketing, our own coaching, team members, a lot of different stuff, right? Your opinion, what's the most overrated investment that you've made in the past, and what's the most underrated?
I think the most overrated is when I wanted to just accumulating credentials or trainings just for the sake of reassuring myself. I didn't know that by that time, but I know that for now, that I wanted to make sure that I could address all possible questions or all possible situations of my coaching clients, which is impossible to have. And I wanted to gear up just as you do when you're a tax advisor. You have to follow some credentials because you have to know the hard skills. Coaching is not about hard skills. It's about the discussion. It's about the posture. It's about being fully there, being able also to act with this listening skills much more than the telling skills. As I think that a lot of coaches, we are looking for the credential that will make it magic, that suddenly we feel confident about entering into the discussion. We will never be 100% confident. The time we are 100% confident, it's not good enough. It's because we are missing something. So it's good to not be confident. And so just doing training to make ourselves confident, for me, that's the most overrated thing that I did. Probably the most of it. And something very underrated that now I do is going into discussions with entrepreneurs, networking event with entrepreneurs, not training, not reading the next book, but speaking with real people about what makes them special, where do they want to go, and really go out there. And especially now, it's November, December, everybody is having a cup of champagne and something to discuss about how the year was so difficult. These are great discussions. We are driving in times where people are not anymore connected to dreams and to making things bigger, but just preserving themselves and the status quo because we are so afraid of what is to come. So entering into discussions with people who can project themselves into growth, into achieving something new, and to getting somewhere where they are not here yet, this is something really challenging for me, and this is something that I underestimated in the past, but I see the benefit of it because it gives me the kick that I need to transmit that energy to my own clients and also to myself.
I love your answers, by the way. It's like the
Thank you.
power of conversations, right? And we sometimes severely undervalue those things. Okay.
Yes.
Last question for you. How can people find you and connect with you?
They find me on LinkedIn. I am the only Audrey Jeanrond on LinkedIn. There's only one of a kind, of course. They can find me on the website hypnocoaching.com. They can write me an email. That's also a privilege, but mainly on LinkedIn, I'm very active there. So please don't hesitate to contact me. And for the French speaker out there, you can listen also to Question de Coach, which is my very own podcast, to make French-speaking people more attuned maybe to coaching and coaching tools such as hypnotherapy and others.
I'm so fascinated about a few things. One of the things you didn't explicitly say, but something that was just so inspiring is that you pivoted careers. You were an attorney,
Yes.
you were a tax advisor, accountant at one point, and you just changed careers. And it wasn't just an overnight thing. It was really interesting how step by step you just like created this business there. So there's that thing. There's a tactical aspect of like value-based conversations. And I feel like that gets lost a lot of times when people just do straight up packages and all that. I love value-based engagements, by the way, my favorite. And then again, I touched upon this a few times, but really the power of people, the power of these deep conversations and what's not always being said sometimes. I think that is those are biggest takeaways I got from this conversation with you. That's just my long way of saying, Audrey, hey, I appreciate your work. Your work matters. And thank you so much for sharing your time, your stories and wisdom on this podcast today. So thank you so much, Audrey.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And great questions, by the way. And I love your podcast. I listen to it very regularly, also to perfect my little Frenchy accent. It's always good to listen to people who can enunciate way better than I can. So I believe that the work that you're doing on the podcasting also gives me the inspiration as I go by my days and I listen to people, so inspiring people. It gives me also the clarity that can then transmit to other people. So this is really nice, refreshing and inspiring at the same time. So thank you for the things that you're doing here on this podcast, Kevin. It's really nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's my pleasure.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.